court with the arrogance of a man who thought justice wore his badge. But what he didn't know was that the woman sitting silently across from him had come not just with a lawyer, but with a truth powerful enough to crumble the illusion of power he'd hidden behind for years. This isn't just a courtroom drama. It's a reckoning. Monica Fields had never believed in fairy tales. Not because she was bitter or broken, but because life, as she knew it, had never given her the luxury of naivety. Born and raised in Shreveport, Louisiana, Monica was the kind of woman who carried strength in her silence. A single mother, a survivor of domestic abuse, a community organizer by passion and a paralegal by profession. She'd been through storms that would have swallowed most whole. But she kept her head high because she knew her worth and because she had someone to fight for, her daughter, Layla. Layla was 16, right? Inquisitive, full of life. Her laughter echoed through their tiny apartment like sunshine after a storm. Monica often said that Layla was her second chance at joy. And after everything she'd been through, Monica guarded her peace like a lioness. But that peace shattered one late August evening. It started with a knock on the door. 3 sharp knocks. Not urgent, but assertive. The kind of knock that carried authority. Monica opened it cautiously. And there he was, Detective Rick Harden. Clean-shaven, blue eyes sharp like ice, badge hanging from his neck. His stance casual, but his gaze predatory. "Miss Fields?" he asked, his tone clipped. "Yes. I'm here about your daughter." Monica's heart skipped. "Layla? What happened?" "She's been identified as a witness in an ongoing investigation. We need her to come down to the station for a few questions." But Monica could smell it. The manipulation. The lie behind the practiced calm. "I'm her mother. If she's a minor and not under arrest, then anything you want to ask her, you can ask with me present." Harden gave a tight smile. "We'll see about that." Monica didn't know it yet, but this encounter was the beginning of a nightmare. One where truth, power, and justice would collide, and reveal a secret that would shake the city's foundation. Because Detective Rick Harden wasn't just any officer. He had a history, one that had been buried, protected, and denied. And Monica? She was about to uncover it, piece by piece. 2 days after the knock, the trap was sprung. It was a Friday. Monica had taken the day off work to help Layla with her scholarship applications. They were planning to visit a small college fair downtown. Layla was bubbling with excitement, her eyes wide with hope, her fingers stained with ink from notes scribbled in the margins of her dreams. Monica never saw it coming. As they crossed the parking lot to their car, 3 patrol units boxed them in. Blue and red lights flashed, blinding, aggressive, unnecessary. "Monica Fields?" barked a voice. She turned, shielding Layla instinctively. "Yes, what is this about?" Detective Rick Harden stepped forward, flanked by uniformed officers. "You're under arrest for obstruction of justice and interfering with an active investigation." The words hit Monica like a blow. "What? I haven't," she protested, voice cracking under disbelief. "You've been influencing a minor witness. That's a federal offense," he added coldly, grabbing her wrist without waiting for resistance. Layla screamed, "Mom!" But the cuffs were already on. Monica tried to explain, tried to scream the truth, but all she saw was Harden's smirk. Calculated, vindictive. He leaned in close, whispering words meant only for her ears. "You should have stayed in your lane." It wasn't just an arrest. It was a message, a warning, a punishment for asking questions, for asserting her rights, for not being afraid. Layla clung to her mother, sobbing as the officers tore them apart. "Don't take her. Please, she didn't do anything." Monica looked at her daughter one last time before being shoved into the back seat. "Stay strong, baby. Don't let them break you." Neighbors gathered. Some pulled out phones. Others just stared, numb, too familiar with scenes like this. But one elderly woman named Mrs. Henderson whispered through tears, "They don't want her truth. They want her silence." Inside the station, Monica was booked like a criminal, fingerprinted, her phone confiscated, her rights barely read. She was denied bail. Held in a cold cell overnight, staring at concrete and steel, Monica's mind raced, not with fear, but resolve. Something bigger was happening. Hardin didn't just want her gone, he wanted her silenced. But what he didn't realize was that Monica wasn't just any mother. She was a woman with a past and a memory sharper than his lies. And when she got out, she wasn't just going to fight for her name. She was going to expose everything. The night behind bars didn't break Monica, it sharpened her. She emerged the next day with puffy eyes but a spine of steel. A quiet fire had ignited inside her. Detective Rick Hardin had tried to silence her, but all he had done was hand her a reason to dig deeper. Monica wasn't alone. Her sister, Tamara, a sharp, savvy paralegal, had already posted her bail, and when Monica walked out of that station, Tamara was waiting, with a file. "You need to see this," Tamara said, handing her a manila envelope. Inside were documents Tamara had started pulling the moment Monica was arrested. Personnel reports, internal complaints, redacted statements, and one name that appeared too many times to be coincidence, Detective Rick Hardin. There had been whispers before, complaints buried in bureaucratic quicksand, mostly from young black men, accused, beaten, and discarded. No cameras, no coverage, no consequences. Hardin had a pattern. He bullied, he falsified, he targeted, and now he had Monica in his sights. But what made this time different? Monica had a voice and a daughter, and she wasn't afraid to speak the truth. Stacks of paperwork spread across the table. Tamara sipping coffee, Monica pacing. "This isn't just about me anymore," Monica said. "It's about every single person this man has silenced." Tamara nodded. "Then we burn it all down, legally." And so they started collecting testimonies. One by one, people who had once been afraid to speak found courage in Monica's fire. A young man named Jalen, beaten during a bogus traffic stop. A mother named Teresa, whose teenage son was framed and shipped off to juvie after Hardin found a stolen phone in his locker. Dozens of accounts. Same tactics. Same name. Hardin. But Monica didn't just collect stories. She went further. She filed a FOIA request for body cam footage from her own arrest. It was denied, so she got creative. She reached out to a civil rights nonprofit. They offered legal support and investigative backing. The team traced a complaint Hardin had buried 3 years ago, an audio recording leaked by a whistleblower. On it, Hardin's voice. "You think anyone's gonna believe her over me?" And that voice was followed by laughter. Arrogant, unaware it was being recorded. But Monica didn't just collect stories. She went further. She filed a FOIA request for body cam footage from her own arrest. It was denied, so she got creative. She reached out to a civil rights nonprofit. They offered legal support and investigative backing. The team traced a complaint Hardin had buried 3 years ago, an audio recording leaked by a whistleblower. On it, Hardin's voice. "You think anyone's gonna believe her over me?" And that voice was followed by laughter. Arrogant, unaware it was being recorded. Monica didn't take that to the press. Not yet. She took it to court, filed a civil suit, pulled in civil rights attorneys, turned her case into a reckoning. And when the subpoenas went out, everything started to unravel. Because what Hardin hadn't counted on was documentation, emails, body cam gaps, case files altered hours after arrest. All of it pointed to one man. The badge no longer protected him. It exposed him. The courtroom was packed, the air thick with anticipation. 4 months, the city had watched this battle quietly simmer, but now, the moment of reckoning had come. Monica stepped inside, her heart pounding, not with fear, but with fierce determination. She was no longer the scared woman cuffed in that holding cell. She was a warrior armed with truth. The prosecution attorney, sharp and relentless, laid out the case against Detective Rick Hardin. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," the attorney began, voice steady, "this is a story about abuse of power, about a man who twisted his badge into a weapon of oppression." She presented the trove of evidence. Body cam footage gaps, altered case files, whistleblower recordings, and witness testimonies, one after another, exposing the pattern of Hardin's misconduct. Hardin's defense attorney tried to discredit Monica, called her a troublemaker, suggested her charges were fabricated to cover her own mistakes. But Monica's voice remained unwavering when it was her turn to speak. "I was humiliated. I was locked up, stripped of my dignity, for simply existing in a neighborhood my skin color didn't fit. Detective Hardin didn't just arrest me, he tried to erase my humanity." Her eyes scanned the jury. "This isn't just about me. This is about every person who's been silenced by fear and injustice." Then came the moment everyone waited for, when Monica's legal team played the whistleblower's recording. Hardin's voice echoed in the silent courtroom. "You think anyone's gonna believe her over me?" Followed by that chilling laugh. The jury's faces shifted, some shocked, others visibly disturbed. Hardin's composure cracked. For the first time, his mask slipped. Witness after witness took the stand, courage swelling with each testimony. People who had long lived in silence now spoke freely. Their stories wove a tapestry of injustice and pain, unmasking a man who used his badge to terrorize instead of protect. The judge called a recess. Hardin sat alone, swallowed by the weight of truth. When court resumed, the judge addressed the jury with a stern warning. "Remember, the badge carries responsibility, not immunity." After hours of deliberation, the jury returned. Guilty. Hardin's world collapsed. His career shattered. Monica's fight became a beacon. Her courage sparked calls for reform, for accountability. And as she walked out of that courthouse, she wasn't just a survivor, she was a symbol. Sometimes, justice feels impossible. Sometimes, the system seems stacked. But Monica showed us all, no badge is above the truth. Because when the right woman stands up, the whole world has to listen. The courtroom victory was just the beginning. Monica's fight had rippled far beyond those four walls. News outlets flooded the streets. Headlines splashed her name across screens. Local woman takes down corrupt detective. Badge no longer a shield for abuse. Community leaders spoke out. Protests erupted peacefully, fueled by hope and a hunger for change. Monica was invited to speak at rallies, her voice rising with power and grace. "We're not just fighting for me. We're fighting for every mother, every father, every child who's felt powerless. Today we say, enough is enough." Her words sparked a movement. The city council introduced reforms, body cam policies strengthened, civilian oversight committees established. Officers with histories of misconduct were reviewed. But not everyone was ready to embrace change. Some resisted. Some whispered about Monica's agenda. Yet Monica stood tall, undeterred. Her fight was no longer hers alone. It belonged to a community demanding dignity and respect. Justice isn't a moment. It's a movement. And when one voice rises, it inspires thousands more to roar. Monica's story reminds us, the true power of a badge lies not in fear, but in accountability. Because when courage meets truth, change becomes inevitable. If Monica's story moved you, share this video. Let her courage fuel the fight for justice everywhere. Subscribe to Faces of Suffering for more stories that reveal the real faces behind the headlines. Because every story matters.